Okay, I'm here. I crashed, and I'm not even surprised. If anybody can hear me, I was playing a video, and I want to just trying to get it back now. I'm gonna pause it for a second. I'm gonna play this video for my live today. I'm gonna play this video. I was listening to it before I came on, and matter of fact, all right, oh man, oh man, brethren, I'm really having a lot of technical difficulties today. It seems like I'm really making somebody mad. So hopefully, I'm going to go ahead with the way that I usually do things. I'm having a lot of problems for some reason, having a lot of difficulties. So I'm going to just start from the beginning. I was playing a video and it was really kicking some, it was really doing some damage. I mean, so far as getting the light out there, explaining the light. So what I'm going to do is just start like I would from the beginning, my video. So bear with me, brethren. I hope that you can hear me okay. I'm going to begin all over again. If it wants to keep crashing on me, I'm just going to keep going over and over, starting over and over again. So me and the spirits are going to have a fight on our hands. So let me get myself set up like I usually do. Get set up. Bear with me. I'm going to get back to that video. Just get me, let me get set up here. All right. I think, am I ready? Um, Not yet. I got to do one more thing here. Get back to that video that I was playing. That video was really, really something else. I mean, they were talking about the Oahspe from a very academic standpoint. This is the video right here. Okay, now I can begin like I did before. Start from the very beginning. Brethren, thank you for joining me. Who knows? I wonder if not lighting my incense had anything to do with me crashing all of a sudden. Probably not, but let me go ahead and light it anyway. Sorry for all the technical difficulties, brethren. You know, I don't get upset anymore. I just expect it. And I just get right back up. I realize that there's something spiritual going on. And I don't get all emotional over it like I used to. So when these things happen, until I get myself a new computer, I'm just going to, because I'm just going to keep starting, keep getting back up when I get knocked down, keep getting back up. And so, just to let you, brother, know how it's going to go with me. I love the way it, this, whoever is the cause of this, always picks until I do my live to start crashing on me. So, brother, I'm going to start my video all over again. And I'm going to play that video I was playing on my last live before it crashed. And you're going to love it. I guarantee you, Oahspe brethren, you are going to love what I'm going to play. So let me begin. Let me call it a shofar to ask my Heavenly Father to bless this video, that you, brethren, might be blessed. So I'm going to blow the shofar, go into the angels, go into the ministries, and play the video. Oh man, I better stop right there. Everything fighting me today, man. All right, brethren, thank you for joining me. My video that I love to try to do as often as I can, preferably every day. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jaquab by Israel. And I want to give thanks to the Heavenly Father, Earthly Mother, for this opportunity they've given me to be a light while I'm in this reality. Now, I love to acknowledge the angels of the daytime and the angels of the evening, found in this book right here, the Essene Gospel of Peace. And today being Saturday rising, that would mean the Earthly Mother. The Earthly Mother who basically provides all things for us. We have an opportunity to give thanks, to be thankful for the earthly mothers, or the earthly mother giving us the things of our reality so that we can live, so that we can learn, so that we can elevate in our spirit. So we read, and it's supposing that you have read up to this point. You've read all this up to this point. And then it says, after these words, okay? So that's what it's referring to when it says, and after these words have entered into your spirit. On the first rising after Sabbath, say these words. So we're going to say these words together 3 times, together on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The earthly mother and I are one. Again, 1, 2, 3. The earthly mother and I are one. Again, 1, 2, 3. The earthly mother and I are one. And then we read, her breath is my breath, her blood is my blood, her bone, her flesh, her bowels, her eyes and ears are my bone, my flesh. My bowels, my eyes and ears, never will I desert her. Always will she nourish and sustain my body. And you will feel the power of the earthly mother flowing through your body like the river when it is swollen with rains and courses mightily with a great noise. And then this evening is going to be the angel of eternal life. And it reads, after the first evening, after Sabbath, say these words. And we're going to say these words together on 3. 3 times together on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Angel of eternal life, descend upon me and give eternal life to my spirit. Again, 1, 2, 3. Angel of eternal life, descend upon me and give eternal life to my spirit. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Angel of eternal life, descend upon me and give eternal life to my spirit. And we read, and close your eyes, sons of light, and in sleep contemplate the oneness of all life everywhere. I tell you truly, in the daylight hours are our feet on the ground, and we have no wings with which to fly, but our spirits are not tied to the earth, and with the coming of night, we overcome our attachment to the earth and join with that which is eternal. For the Son of Man is not all that he seems, And only with the eyes of the Spirit can we see those golden threads which link us with all life everywhere. Okay, so this is my room on Facebook where I'm looking for Oahspe brethren to come in and have fellowship. I like to, it's an opportunity to, like the Oahspe says, to minister to your brethren. Come in, you can share scriptures. You can help a brother by giving him a word that may be just, it may be just the thing that the brother needed at the particular time. You never know. You can send me a friend invite, I'll bring you in. And just take up, redeem the time. I mean, you can come in, you can get some word, drop a word, you can, store up for yourself. Actually, that, um, okay, here we go. So send me a friend invite, I'll bring you in. We can, you can just redeem the time, start redeeming the time. So what I wanted to do is, I have a sister who helps me tremendously because she gives me things that, um, words that are in the Bible that have a metaphysical meaning to it. I'm just trying to scroll so you can see how it goes in my room. You can get a little taste of the things that I like to share, and I encourage other brethren to share, to give you, to occupy your mind and to have something to chew on during the day, and for you to come in, drop a word, and you can bless another brother that way. So, my room. Now, let me see. I I want to turn anybody on who's listening to. I haven't been promoting my mom's food ministry. I haven't been promoting it. I'm going to pick back up on it. If you know somebody who's, they have a food need, they're in need of food charity, you can certainly contact me. You can definitely contact me. I certainly won't run from that situation. I remember what it was, what it meant, what it felt like to be hungry. That food truck come around, two pieces of bread and a slice of bologna, and man, we really counted on that thing. And all the other families where I lived growing up too. So I know what it's like when you're a child and there's a threat of not being able to eat that day. Fortunately, me, my family, we were, I would say, the lucky ones in that I don't really recall that feeling too much. My parents able to provide for us. So I know that there are other brethren though who are scattered about and they need help, man. You know, and a lot of times you're too proud to say anything, and it falls on you to see what the situation is, jump in, and try to minister to them. So you can contact me, and then if I can't deal with the situation, I'm gonna go to you, brother. I'm gonna go to you. I'm gonna cry out to you. You see, and we're gonna put the faith, the rubber to the road, man. So maybe if you don't want to be a part of that, if a situation come up, maybe this ain't the right channel for you. You know, the Oahspe, it talk all about serving your brother, man. Not just talking a whole lot. Find a way to serve him. I mean, for real. So, food ministry, Julianne Morlock Food Ministry. There's my contact information. The metaphysical meaning of Talmai. Talmai, metaphysical meaning. It's a word in the Bible, or it was one of the three sons of Anak the giant who dwelt at Hebron. The definition is broken up, scattered, sown, furrowed, brave, bold, spirited. You can see how the Creator, he can even use a corrupted work like the Bible to glorify himself. Or he makes a metaphysical meaning out of some of the words that are given. So the metaphysical meaning of Talmai, who was one of the three sons of Anak the giant, is the deeply established thought habits, reasoning, and individual consciousness. Also, the seemingly forceful, daring, confident, yet impatient and intolerant manner in which these thought habits and reasonings assert themselves. So, basically, Talmai. Talmai is the name of deeply established thought habits of sense, reasoning, and established consciousness. And brethren, there are brethren that have that ability, deeply established ability to read a natural, Libra is good at that. They have an they have an endemic characteristic of being able to dialogue with you from a point of deep logicality. It's very hard to defeat a Libra in a debate. It's very hard, man, because they come from, first of all, they're anointed to debate you. Whether they choose to is, I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra. The issue is whether they choose to debate you. If they think that it's just going to lead nowhere, it's just going to lead to the flesh, it's just going to lead to more strife, a lot of them won't do it. Now, I think Brother Selah Shalom, I think he's a Libra. That's why you see him just crushing people. He's got all the information. He's got the ability and he's got the information. And the brother is just damn unbeatable, man. You debate that brother, you might as well just side with him. Listen to what he say. Quit trying to fight the brother because he's been given information. He's really waking up a lot of his brethren. So anyway, more on the metaphysical meaning of Talmai. It says we are told that we use our brains more and more in thinking and reasoning. Furrows or indentations develop in the gray matter that constitutes the brain cells in the human body. And then it gives a definition of furrow and the meaning of Talmai, son of Anak the giant. It bespeaks thought basics of the character that these giants in the Anakim signify. So that's the metaphysical meaning of Talmai, metaphysical meaning of Adoni Beshek. Adoni Beshek was a heathen king in the Canaanites. It means Lord of Beshek, Lord lightning. The metaphysical meaning is it means lightning is a force that gathers and then explodes and dissipates its energy because it's not in harmony with universal equilibrium. This illustrates well the mind of the individual who believes himself to be independent and unrelated creation. When this kind of thought is allowed full sway in man's consciousness, man becomes so egotistical and self-opinionated that he destroys himself. Thus, error is its own destruction. So a brother gets too puffed up, he builds himself up, gets a little following under him, and he gets so egotistical, he just blows up because he's not in harmony with the truth. He's got to have a release valve because he puffs himself up so much, and he's got to release that. He just explodes and loses his damn mind. And that's the same story with a lot of the gods you hear in the Oahspe. They get a kingdom under themselves. They get a lot of spirits up under them, but they can't. The problem is that when you talk, gods are mortals that fell. They were on earth. They were men at one time. The wicked gods, and they got a lot of knowledge. They get puffed up, and they want to, they got to release it. They release it to their spirits. They get spirits under them, but at some point they just bust open in the sense that their kingdom falls because they can't elevate their spirit subjects. I hope you see what I'm talking about. I hope I'm not, I don't want to confuse you or anything, but that's the metaphysical definition of Adoni Beshek. You can read the rest of it. Scroll it a little bit so you can read it. All right, now I want to go ahead and go to that video I was playing before my video crashed. Sister Susan Martina. Matter of fact, she's in the room. She's in the room. I'm happy to say, I think that she's coming out with a book about, I think it's on cosmogony and prophecy. It's a book also in the Oahspe. Sister is a PhD, and she's I want to play a video that she was a part of. And man, I'm telling you, the information, she's a Gemini, so she's in her element, communicator. And man, I'm telling you, we are in for one hell of a blessing. Hell of a blessing, man. I'm so glad that she's in the room. Hopefully, we can take advantage of her incredible education. So she did this video, and I'm just gonna play it. I wanted to do something on reasons why you should not be deceived or something like that. I'm just saying that for another day. So let me see if anyone's in the room. I greet you. All right. All right. Brethren, thank you for joining me, Fritz. Good to see you, Fritz. Y'all join me in my room. Fritz, Elijah, you see the link in the description area. Why don't y'all come in, have fellowship with us? Let me see, Fritz, you say you live in Hebron? Wow, that's a trip. Oh, Libra rising? All right. I don't know astrology that deep. I basically deal with the sun, with the sun and the signs, the sun and the signs. But you probably know what I'm talking about. The vibration that Libra is under. And you get them into a debate, man. I mean, you better be super anointed. I'm not saying that to be proud. Each of us got our gifts. But that's our territory right there. If you start wanting to debate a Libra, man, you're most likely gonna have some problems if you're on the wrong side. Because they got such a sense of logicality. They will destroy you. It's a gift that's part of our gift. I don't talk about Libras much on my, because I don't want to seem like, that's just something that the Creator has made us. He's given us. Everybody's got a gift. Your sign is your gift. That means you got an ability to do one thing or the other. So, okay. Elijah is an Aquarius. See, Elijah, Pluto just entered Aquarius. Aquarius, those are the best friends you can have in the world. That's the sign of a true friend, man. Aquarius. They have a characteristic of unthreatening manliness. And Pluto just went to Aquarius. That means that the kingdom of men is now going to become the kingdom of the people. It's going to come the kingdom of the people. The water bearer, Aquarius. Water for the world, man. That's why we got the Oahspe Bible now. Pluto has gone into Aquarius. That means increased energy for the vibration of the brotherhood of men. That's what we're looking at. That's why you see the children of men. Their kingdom is coming to a conclusion. And the harvest is being harvested. That's Oahspe, brethren. Brethren who are ready to elevate, who can receive this word. Brethren who can move with the Creator. They can move with Him. That's another advantage that air signs have. We can move, brother. When the Spirit moves this way, an air sign can go with it. We're called air signs. We're called air signs. That's one of our benefits. We can move with the Spirit. We all got our purpose. That doesn't mean other earth sign, the other side can't. It's just that air signs, they have an advantage in that area. They're least likely to be tied down to dogma and doctrine. It's a sign of the mind, the three air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. We have a job to do. Other signs, they got a job to do. And this is the time we got the truth now. Unless the Creator do something else, we're going to move with that too. A lot of brethren can't move with it. A lot of brethren, that's the danger in the current situation. A lot of brethren cannot move. You can't move. Earth signs is going to be, incidentally, well, I digress, man. I want to play this video of the sister and her co-panelists. They were talking about the Oahspe, and man, this This is a knockout. You brethren are in for a knockout. Yeah, a lot. You know, the room. Let me show you the room, brother. So you can at least, if it ain't, if the description link is not in the description area, let me show you the room so you can get the information. And send me a friend invite right here. I'll bring you into the room, okay? So it should be in the description area. If not, just go ahead and, you know, just take the information down. So let me read what y'all got here before I go back to the video. Okay, Elijah is an Aquarius. Those are the best friends you can have, man, in the zodiac. That's the sign of the. That's the sign. He's a friend of the world, man. And they are loyal. They will go down with you. They don't run from being your friend, man. Elijah said, "I'll listen and I'll listen in though." Okay, to the broadcast. Yeah, I've been having some difficulties. Fritz, true, all air signs are, yeah, they're about the mental aspect of things of this reality. And pouring out knowledge, downloading. Libras are very powerful. Yeah, that's the cardinal sign. I mean, they're born leaders. Aries, Libra, Cancer, and there's one more I'm missing. Capricorn. You know, and nobody needs to get or feel like they're less or anything. It's just part of the order. It really don't mean that leaders are above the astrological leaders or above anybody else. It's just a position that people hold for the sake of administrating. It's just people trip on that word leader and they want to be one and called one, and you know, it really don't mean like anybody's better than anybody else, you know. So anyway, brethren, thank you for joining me. I'm gonna go ahead, look at start the video, and man, I'm just gonna let it play. I'm gonna run the whole video. So if you can't stick around, maybe come back some other time. Let me see. Elijah says we need all the help to bring this truth of Creator EOE out for real, man. Yeah, you right about that. You certainly right about that. But whether or not anybody go with us, you see these videos, nobody's looking. I mean, I don't want to say nobody looks at them, you know what I mean? But this word, you know this word is going to apply to everybody. You brethren know that. You know that sooner everybody is going to, everyone is going to subscribe to this word. Okay? You brethren know that in your spirit. That's why you know that we believe in something that's unbeatable. So far as spiritually speaking, truth wise, you brethren know that. That's why you're not gonna let it go. It's like you don't found a bar of gold. It's just like that parable in the Bible where it say, man, he found a treasure in his field. He bought the whole damn field, man. You know. In other words, he knew the value of what he had found. Oahspe brethren are like that. I love the fact that we seem to be trying to get together. We trying to get together now, man. You know, gather together, old nation not desired. Nobody can hear us right now, but they're going to. We know they're going to. You brothers are really the forerunners to bring this light out. We gonna kick and shout when we see the Creator, when he really, you know, right now it's just people are the put it this way, man. This thing is gonna spread. All right. I want to get to the video so we can all partake in his blessing. You brethren are gonna love this, man. So I'm gonna go ahead to the video right now. Come back at the end of it. Thank you, brethren, joining me. Let's play the video.
Today we have two people going to explain what it is, where it came from, and how has it impacted our society. Today we have author Susan B. Martinez and a brand new guest she's bringing with her, Peter Hargens, who's going to be live in studio, and I'm excited to talk about the Oahspe Bible. I'm Tony Sweet with Truth Be Told. Please welcome to the Truth Be Told studios, Peter Hargens, and author Susan B. Thank you guys for joining us on this Friday afternoon.
You're welcome.
We have Peter in studio. It's rare we get anybody in studio, but Susan has been with us before. So, Dr. Susan Martinez, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I am amazing. Thank you so much. And I can't believe it's almost April of 2022. But one thing I always like to do is discuss religions and spirituality, because a lot of people in this world, you know, like I'm a Sagittarius. We're seekers of truth, and we search for peace, and we search for a connection to the other side through loved ones, and death of our ancestors, and so we're always trying to find out who our past is and what's next after this life. And when you brought to me this Oahspe, is that right? Oahspe Bible. I was like, I have never in my life heard of that before. So I want to thank you both for coming on the show and talking about that. So who wants to start and tell us where this Bible and this religion started?
Susan, you want to give the
I was just about to say, Peter, would you like to?
Okay, shall we toss a planet? What should we do?
All right, Peter, let's just go. You can.
All right. The gentleman who was the medium for it. So I think I'm going to make it clear. Again, as I was talking to you before it came on the air, that 1848, 1850 period was the birth, the explosion of knowledge,
right,
that dwarfed the last 500 years, both in spiritual or religious understanding and scientific understanding. And there have been a lot of research done. And the people who did the research into spirituality here weren't necessarily religious people. They were the scientists of that day who called themselves psychic investigators.
Oh, okay.
And they were trying to find the questions to these ancient questions. And to kind of get to Newberg's thing, Newberg's mother was a spiritualist, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Susan, I think his father was a regular minister or something. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. He was a farmer and a teacher.
Okay. So, and it turned out that Newberg had spiritual or psychic abilities, the ability to clairvoyance, clairaudience.
Right.
But he also, in his investigations, would also uncover phonies. And then there's the ones you can't explain.
Right.
So I don't want to get too long in the backstory here.
Right.
But he was investigating the mystery, and he had initially been trained as a doctor, but became a dentist because he found doctoring just was too bloody. I guess especially back in the 1800s,
right,
late 1800s, and he was having these different experiences and visiting mediums and asking various questions. He also worked in the gold fields in California, and
Australia.
Australia too. Didn't know that one. And got to be of a little means as well, which doesn't hurt if you're going to want to travel around the world and investigate stuff.
Which is what he did.
Definitely. So he gets to the point where he's investigating. The story, as I understand it, is that this one night the whole room was filled with light, and were all these faces in the room. And they asked, the voice or the voices in the room asked him if he would want to do a work for the Creator.
Wow.
And to do it, though, he had to purify himself by doing a total vegetarian diet, which we would say today a vegan diet.
Right.
No nuts, vegetables, fruits, porridges, such as that. And he decided to do that, and that was in the 70s. I think it was like a 10-year journey. At the end of it, he was told to buy a typewriter. He said, "I don't know how to type," and these were those first typewriters.
Right. So not too many did.
Right.
Yeah.
And they said to just sit at the table and put the hands over it. But basically, he was entranced. And as much as I believe it, I always try to say, supposedly, you can't. One thing Oahspe says: spirit can't prove corpora or materiality, and materiality can't prove corpora.
Right.
So these experiences become very subjective experiences. Anyway, he's told not to look at anything he writes until he's finished. To turn the page to right, and he went into trance, and it's been edited different times, but let's say it turned out to be about an 800 and something book dealing with the history of the Earth for 78,000, counting these years, let's say 78,173 years of man.
Right.
Which what Susan was talking about in the sinking of Pan, the first large population of the world in the South Pacific, had a civilization that lasted before the sinking of the island or the continent about 40 or 44,000 years. The main thrust here is to understand in this book the degrees and working of the unseen dimensions, which we would call heaven. In the book, it's also referred to as the intermediate world or the bound atmospheric realms to this planet that travel in the orbit of this planet. And it talks about the structure of the heavens. So here, what the major thing in this book is to make a big difference between the concept of God and gods and the Creator. That the term God in this book can refer to the Creator in the same way we say a president, a king, a ruler, a supervisor.
Right.
But the Creator is the Creator. The Creator is the all in all, beyond and overall. So you say the gestalt of being.
Right.
For those who may not know gestalt, which is the sum of greater than the sum of all its parts. And it describes the lower heavens of the earth, the higher heavens, which they have like the earthbound, what people might call hells, or the places where the negative pull behavior people go down after what we call death. The first resurrection, which is more individualistic. The second resurrection, which is the organized heavens that look after the doings of society.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third, what they call, go ahead, Susan.
I just want to interject that the Oahspe Bible is unique in a number of ways, but the one that I want to mention now, which your comments reminded me of, is that it has an upper book and a lower book. Can you describe that?
Okay. It's written in again, not all the books in it, but there's an upper book which goes into the doings of the particular administration of the really higher heavens over this intermediate heavens that we have around the planet. Mm-hmm. Or
I'd like to say that the page, when you look at the page, there's a line, there's a horizontal line in the middle of the page, and the upper book is what's above the line, and the lower book is what's below the line, and they are related narratives, but the upper book deals strictly with the happenings in the heavens of the earth, and the lower book deals with the earth happenings, and they're contemporary. You could say that, Peter, that they're contemporary.
Yeah, they're contemporary of the period of the time. So let's say the book of Laika, which is dealing with this, with what the Hindus call, and also called in Oahspe, nirvana, but nirvana has kind of two parts: etheria, and nirvana is the highest part. And these are the unbound heavens, the true. And I'm trying to get out of religious time the highest dimensions that individual life can transcend to. So let's say dimensions.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Susan, you got it.
Whenever I'm asked to introduce Oahspe, I try to simplify it in my mind by saying that it deals with three major subjects in a unique way. It deals with the records of the race. In other words, what's been going on this planet for the last 80,000 years. It deals with science, and that's the middle of the book. There's even a fold out, a centerfold in the middle showing the aspect of the heavens in the last 24,000 years. And thirdly, it deals with, let's see, spirit, with spirit. So there's a new science, we call it a new science, and that's referred to as cosmogony. There's science, history, and spirit, basically.
And the translation of the word Oahspe is just earth, sky, and spirit.
And you know, the word I've been seeing this on YouTube because I listen to a lot of Native American music, and the Native Americans still use the word spelled A-H, to denote earth. So that's included in Oahspe. Spe, of course, is the outer regions.
Well, I have a question. So I have a picture of the creator, and was it Newsbro?
Well, no,
Newbro.
The person who it was written through, or if you want to say wrote it, but we're saying that he was in trance and he wrote it. So the book is supposedly been piped through him.
Because I mean, in some ways, I mean, this is very similar. I mean, to the Mormon, with the visions that he had and wrote the book, the Book of Mormon. So, with how many people?
Right. The method might be the same, but what you have to distinguish is what the source of it is. I want to say that throughout Oahspe, and there are many books within Oahspe, 33 of them, 33 plus or minus a few. There's a constant display of the conflict going on between the real gods and the false gods. And once you become familiar with this setup, with this understanding, you can begin to recognize what the false gods have done. Peter might be a good one to talk about the false gods.
Yeah, I think and again, I'm trying to put this in language because a lot of people, the idea of the unseen, it's hard to grasp. But in the old Hermetic adage, as below, so above, as above, so below. That as far as the atmospheric worlds that are connected with this planet, it is not much different. There's warfare,
right.
There's conflict, there's ego. There's something in Oahspe, and so the false gods, in the concept of the Oahspe, all the false gods initially were mortals on this planet who died and went up in the ranks.
So what we call in most religions prophets are considered what, false prophets?
No.
Okay.
You and I die. We go to the spirit world.
Right.
We're Joe Nobody. We go to schools.
Who said no? Okay.
Right. And this is like, as we have schools and nurseries here,
Right.
they have it, but
Same there.
a higher vibratory rate.
Right.
What we get here is science has already been there, given to us when they think we're ready for it.
Right.
And so they're all initially trained in the one belief of the one creator and nonviolence and all this. Then just like we have tyrants here in times of darkness and times of light, so do they there. So when there's a time of darkness in the lower heavens or a chaos,
Right.
the false gods lose belief in an unseen creator, and they set up their own kingdoms, and humans are looking for someone to worship who they can hold, look at, visualize.
Wow.
So all in this teaching, all the religions that get messed up initially were saying all the same things. The false gods, or we could say usurpers in using terms of earth terms, set up these kingdoms, these principalities, these nations, and as currency, as money is some power here, followers and people for their heavens is the power.
With
dominion, if you will.
With this religion, with, let's say, Christianity, there's if you're a good person, you go to heaven. If you're a bad person, you go to hell. What is the theory on that with...
Well, I do want to correct something. One of the things with Christianity is no matter in the strictest kind of Christianity that came out of the Council of Nicaea and Constantine, which took the least... There were many types of Christianity. Many of them did not believe, the early ones, that Christ was the Son of God. He was a prophet, and the term Son of God means someone who spirit or heaven speaks for.
Right.
And said, the idea here is, even if you're good, whatever good you are in that religion, if you don't accept Jesus as your Savior, you're going to hell.
Right.
This says good works, love, kindness, nonviolence, no warfare.
Right.
When the Creator said, "Thou shalt not kill," it was as clear for a nation self as it was for an individual. So the false gods, whose thing is in power and destruction and setting up their own kingdom.
Right.
So we can look at it as what we see when we see revolutions. In fact, we can see this, what's happening in Russia and Ukraine.
Right.
That mimics what happens here.
But can you, let's say, we said shall not kill. And as we know, I've known a lot of great Christians that have been in the military, went to war, and killed many people during war.
What Oahspe says, and I hear what he's... Now, let me make this clear from my own personal opinion.
Right.
Now, what also Oahspe does stretch, you like the Quakers do, you have to follow your own highest light. And I give you an example. There was a General Greene in the Revolutionary War who was a Quaker. He believed that you shouldn't kill, you shouldn't go to war, but he, at the same time, just like there were Quakers who went in the war in a second, that the moral code, the necessity to, so one has to make their own choice. In Oahspe, it's saying that the Creator said this, meaning not to go to war and to believe that you're an eternal being. Now, I'm trying to do this in the clearest way. So as power is here, and And I'm saying I honor people who believe, who say, hey, you know, I've got to protect my children, my country. And a lot of times we give them a hard time when they come back.
Right.
But it's important that we understand, you know, the soul. So I'm getting off. What it means is that Oahspe says you have to think for yourself.
Can I?
Let me just finish this one thing. We have to think for ourselves. And no matter, there's no book, there's no religion, including this one,
Right.
is there to tell you what to do. You have to eventually have to make your mind. Susan, go ahead.
As per this conversation, I was listening to what you said, and it made me think of something that's in Oahspe, which is a definition of the beast. The beast. The two horns of the beast are might and righteousness. So that's where you see the link between the military and the Christianity, or whatever religion is dominating that country.
Mm.
The two horns of the beast are might and righteousness.
I would add to what Oahspe also talks about, and they call, in Oahspe it's called the tetracts. In more psychological terms, 7 negative character traits that all human beings have, that come more from the animal man than the ethical or spiritual man.
I want to say that Peter's been really working on the tetracts, particularly this year, and bringing it to our attention, and I'm going to read them to you, if that's okay. There's 7 of them.
I'd love to hear.
The first one is Uz. I'm sorry, Uk. Uk. It's spelled UK, and it stands for vanity, arrogance, and iniquity. There's also the Hebrew word for it, aven. The second one is owel, and that stands for tattling and slander, and in Hebrew, jidbah. Isn't that interesting that oh wow stands for tattling and slander? When you hear something shocking, you go, oh wow.
Right.
You know?
That is pretty funny.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The third one is Belial, and some people are familiar with that term, and it stands for worthlessness and injustice. And the fourth one is Uga, and that stands for lying and falsehood and joking.
The evil joking. Evil joking.
In the negative sense only. The next one is Anash, and that stands for wickedness and strife and stubbornness. The next one is Ra, the flesh evils. And the last one is Satan, leadership and love of admiration.
Yeah, and
the tetracts were given to the Hebrews, the Vedics, and the Algonquins.
And I would also say,
see, so it was global. The Creator's revelations was global in each of these periods.
What I wanted to go ahead, yeah.
I'm okay.
Also, that what she read, that is the larger tetracts. Now, the ones that were put on our shoulder are similar, but some of the names are different. Like Anash is stubbornness in word or deed. Hello?
The Hebrew is
Hishta. Stubbornness in word or deed that leads to destruction. And that can mean a destruction. I have a bad habit. I'm not letting go of it. Okay. All, sort of kind of thing.
Stubbornness is destructive.
Right. So, so some of the names where it applies to the person's own 7 tetracts, but the other 7 tetracts that Susan is like the larger picture, a national one, or what Oahspe refers to as Anromanius. And Romanius is perhaps more like what the real Satan kind of concept. It is, the way I look at it, it is disunity, where the creator, the all-person of the universe, is unity and harmony. So it is the counter force. And the
And here's
the
and there's a point in common with the Holy Bible, the Christian Bible, because I have it in my notes, and I never could follow this up. But Reuben in the Holy Bible also declared the seven tetracts. They may have been called. It's the word tetract is spelled the same as our word detract, only it begins with a T, not a D. And so you can kind of visualize it as a detracting from your character. You know, I went over this list the other day, and I identified two of them that are my problem, and I've been working on it ever since.
Yeah, I think that's it. Susan brings an important thing. What I want to follow up here is that yes, and I like, and this is my own way of doing it because I can't prove something that is unless you have the experiences. But whether you're being harassed by imaginary creatures you invent, or you have neighbors or discarnates, the greatest enemy of ourselves is ourself. So the seven tetracts, the vanity, the conceit that, oh, I'm all that in a bag of chips kind of thing, is we have to know our entry point for anything else negative that can use our own negativity against us.
Right.
And so in one of the books of Oahspe, it talks about, for us in the mortal condition, the greatest work is understanding these seven traits, which are similar.
All change is from within.
Yeah.
You
And
don't get change, real change, without it coming from within.
so I look at the tetracts. If you're like New York Harbor, you got all these little ports.
Right.
So you got 7 ports, and different vessels come and dock. If your tetracts are in dominance, it's going to be the bad ships with the bad people docking and kind of cheering you on to your own wickedness. The more you can overcome your tetracts, one of the kind of trick statements in a way of Oahspe is because a lot of life here is like a paradox.
Right.
If you seek leadership, that is selfishness. If you deny leadership when presented to you, that's selfishness. You just seek to do the best you can in the talents that you're given. And if fame comes, cool. If a chance to be a supervisor comes, and I had that play out in my own life. I worked in one of the first women children's programs in the South Bronx of recovering addicts, and they could have up to 3 of their children in the program, 2-year live-in. And I was offered because I had my master's and all, I was offered a supervisor's job as second in command of the clinical department. And I turned it down 2 times because, truth, some of my staff were crazier than the clients, So,
ain't that the truth in many
I'm
areas?
sitting there going, "Oh, I got out of that," and then I remembered that line from Oahspe, and I went, "Oops." Let me step back here because I don't want all that extra. It's enough I got this caseload and these other folks here. So it is that kind of thing. Really, to go back to the Greek statement, know thyself. And so whether we want to get into the concept of other dimensions, what we're really talking about is the highest ideals that human beings have ever had, from whatever way, philosophy. So, and the word atheist in the beginning excuse me, I guess that's too close. In the time of the persecution of Jews and Christians in the earliest times, the word atheist applied to them because before the cult of Jesus, the only Son of God, came, he was just a, a mouthpiece for the Creator, just a Messiah, like
Right.
Moses or Abraham.
Right.
And so believing in something you can't see or hold, you don't believe in the gods, you're an atheist. So the original Christians and the Jews, because as the inner temple in Judaism was just an empty room. There was nothing in it to say, how can you define and imagine or even name our God?
Wow.
So the false gods take, I'll give an example. I know you may get some real fired up stuff from some kinds of Christians.
We liked it. We like a little
So
controversy.
when Jesus of Nazareth was said to say, I am the way and the light,
Right.
More than likely what he said was, the I am is the way and the light. The I am that I am.
Right.
And you also have to understand language. The Semitic languages and Hamo-Semitic languages have 2 to 3 different meanings to their words. And it's tonal. The scriptures were copied by the Greeks and the Romans, whose, particularly the Romans, is much more fixed and, builder kind of language.
Right.
So you have to really, that's why most of the real knowledge was given mouth to ear, because you have the laws written down that can, and same like with the Oahspe, you can't, it's a book. It's dead words on the page. You have to ask for the light, for the knowledge. So the looking, searching, asking, doing the research of all these different realities. And I remember one of the things I was most impressed of going to a synagogue when I was younger. I grew up in a particularly wealthy town that was predominantly Jewish on the Jersey Shore between Long Branch and Asbury Park, named Deal. And I go to synagogue with my friends, and they made much more sense than when I went to church with my Christian friends. But in a lot of the commentaries that are made by the rabbis at the bottom of the page are said in such a way, they don't always agree. And same with Oahspe. Susan and I have, debated things. But we have to think, analyze, understand. And one of the things it says in Oahspe, that's why one of us attracted to it. No 2 people can see or understand any in the exact same way. So we're all kaleidoscoping.
We're all individuals.
Right, and we're kaleidoscoping our individual. If I have a cross street, and I'm on one corner, you're on another, Dan is on another, Cindy's on another, I will tell the truth of my vision. Or if not completely, it's going to be angularly with other information that I could not perceive. If you have a 6-way cross street on Inferior. So what Oahspe is talking about is the secret to happy life here, a happy life there, is basically the golden rule and the 10 commandments. You treat people the way you want to be treated.
Right.
Or even the silver rule, which is, a lot of people get it completely, never to do anything to anyone else that you would find hateful done to yourself. The golden rule says, just treat them the way you want to be, whatever it is. Like, don't do that to them if you don't want to
Treat your neighbor like you
want to be treated.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Susan.
I have a word to say on the, I'm trying to keep up here, on the false gods. I want to focus on something here. The prophecy in Oahspe, which is very powerful, predicts the toppling the false gods in this time, in the time we're living in now. And it's called, the new era is called Cosmon. And it more or less, suggests Cosmic Man, where we reconnect with the rest of the universe. So I wanted you to know about cosmos because that's what we believe in and think is all the unraveling that's going on now is necessary in order to get a fresh start. And I wanted to mention one other term so that people have understand this. We're called faithists, and faithists have always been on the earth, but at different in different cycles. There's a lot of history for anyone who wants to know what was going on here in the last 80,000 years. And by the way, when that figure came up, the first thing that sprang to my mind was that it's in total conflict with what paleontology and all the experts, quote unquote, are telling us about the tenure of man on Earth, that he's been here for millions of years. Our figures only show about 75,000 years for the existence of man on Earth.
I think I would like to add to that, that as far, well, there's two things here. We don't take into consideration the radioactivity that comes from space. When there were meteor showers, and this is a theory of mine, that's certainly not something I can prove, but you have a period of time when the meteors fell. Now, the Earth's rocks are older, so when you do carbon dating, you may possibly get a much longer date. And I'm not saying the 6,000 year kind of thing that people,
Right.
but it would be a much less time. What even science says that, and this, I know, and Oahspe does say about the Creator prepares for a million years, so there might have been different hominids that built up to this. I don't know, but the cerebral cortex did not start developing to 100,000 years ago. In Oahspe, the little race that was born, that were kind of the teachers of all the rest of us who they were advanced, had speech. So you see, the cortex gets developed 100,000 years ago. Speech, which is the kind of speech we have, is the ability to express abstract thought comes into being, and we start what we know as ourselves now. But I think what I agree with Susan is when we understand all this matter that has made, and even in our science programs now, they say about different times this crashed into the earth and it cooled here. All this process might give us a much ancient time because of what's crashed into us is matter in space that's been out there longer than the planet. Now, this is a theory. Also, as we go from in the spiritual sense, we go through different dominions of the Etherian heavens that may have a radioactive or radiant effect. Maybe. I mean, again, to say, oh, I know for a fact.
Peter,
go ahead.
It's also showbiz. It's also showbiz. You know, like the experts have to get the money, to get the funding, they have to come up with an older form of man. You know, you always
Right.
see these breaking news that it's just, it's BS. I mean, they have extended it. I tracked it, and first it was 100,000 years that we lived here on Earth, and then it was 1 million, and then the next guy upped him to 2 million, and now I don't know how far back they've gone, but they keep changing it.
Well, let me ask you both this, because on Truth Be Told, we talk a lot about in the paranormal world, UFOs, how did we get here on Earth, and even in the Bible talked about potentially gods and all this stuff. Does the Oahspe talk about our beginning of existence on this planet, or how did we get here?
Let me take that. Let me start that.
Please.
There were on this planet 80,000 years. The only humans on this planet 80,000 years ago were kind of a subhuman type of fitting in with the hominid category. And what happened is that an angelic race was brought down and embodied on Earth, and they, in order to raise up man, in order to create mankind,
Right.
and they were told not to mingle with the Earth people, the indigenous people, but they did, and they created the race of Ihens. Do I have that right so far, Peter?
Yeah, they were little people. And again, most of the book talks about white and yellow, but when you read about it later, in Africa, the Ihens were of all colors. But the point here is that the people who came to suppose, and again, I'm trying to be scientific, but the story goes that when a planet reaches a certain point for its development to bring man, which in one of the definitions of man is corporeal consciousness or consciousness of abstract consciousness, that these angelic or essence beings of the essence of people who died on other worlds in infancy and childhood had to be whole. You need a full corporeal experience to be fully created being. So they died early in infancy. They became very profoundly educated in the ways of the spiritual life, but they had not the base understanding of corporeality. And so their job is to come on any world. What Oahspe says that this is not the only, it's not a backwater God sitting in empty space that created on it. Worlds are going in and out at infancy, maturity, dying, just like people, animals, suns, star suns, galaxies. It's an ongoing process. So these beings, these one-time mortals on some planet, have not had a full education. They come and they mate. Now the story, what Susan is saying, one of the fascinating things is that were they supposed to really not mix? And it wasn't time. They were going to help that race of what they call Asu, or also Adam. So Adam is a different kind of Adam than we understand.
Right.
Weren't supposed to, or they now, these beings like little children, and with their desires, and they mate. If you tell them not to do something, they're going to do it.
Right.
So I just wanted to point this out, that the chief of the group, tells them what to do, and they don't know about corporate, so they end up mixing. Some of them mix, and he says, "Oh, didn't you understand what I said?" That it was like, oh, and plus these beings have never had the passions of the animal man, because they died in infancy or early childhood. So all of a sudden, it's like one of the Star Trek things where some being goes into Spock, or someone says, "Oh, wow, all these feelings. This is amazing." This kind of thing.
Right.
So there's this mixing.
Susan wanted to make a point about
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The topic changes. This is the thing that after doing a thorough study of Oahspe and the records of the race, I saw that not only did the original Ihens intermingle with the ground people, the earth people, but this is the entire history of the human race is intermingling, and sometimes forbidden. There were some cycles in which the Ihan women were raped in the fields while they were working. And so the bottom line here is that evolution is it's another lie. All we ever had on this earth was the mixing of the races, and this is part of the prophecy for Cosmon itself, for what's happening now and what will be happening in the future. That thousands of years from now, probably, the races will be so mixed that there won't be any more races.
Well,
and I feel that race is one of the key issues of these times.
And I
feel that what's going on in Ukraine, what's
right.
going on with the refugee crisis, all over the place.
Yeah, I think the
with
term
our obsession with Black Lives Matter, all of it.
The term race, a lot of people forget, has been used in many ways. Even in Oahspe, it says your family race.
Right.
The North America, all people in North America, from an anthropological thing, who have the same customs were the North American race. They used to be the Germans were the German race, the Austrian race, and really looked as another person. The royalty and their genetic superiority with that race, and how that whole thing of the king, and they're just better folks. Now, if you got a bigger wallet with more money, now you're the better folks. Kind of thing.
And to complete my thought, the prophecy is for brotherhood. This is really what we love so much about Oahspe. This is what's happening. This is what's happening now, and this is what our goal is: universal brotherhood.
Well, just because of time, and people in the chat room have already said you need to have these two back and do a part 2, because I think we're just touching the surface on this.
Oh yes.
And so, but I do want to ask you both this, such as the Holy Bible, they have the rapture and, Revelations and all this. Because again, I don't know this Bible, Oahspe. Could you talk about any type of predictions of what is to come?
Oh yeah. We've got prophecy galore, and we understand that there is a great deal of destruction on the way and in the present, and that it is the forerunner of the new time, of the Cosmon time. It's unavoidable. Peter?
Yeah, I think there's, sorry, my throat is scratchier. It making me sound older than I want to sound.
Not used to talking so much, huh?
Well, I did, in anticipation, though I wanted to be, like, oh, I'm going to just be cool about that. Of course, I was up half the night saying his house is going to go, blah, blah, blah.
So far, it's been going great on both ends. So
but the time, it has to do with all planets, supposedly, like the Earth. All corporeal planets where people are created for immortality. Go through the same basic cycles, though some of the events may be different from the beginning of their particular quote-unquote humanity to the end, to the final physical perfection, if you will. So it's a process of going. We think of ourselves like here, but we're talking about, let's say it starts over here, but actually we're going more and more inward and inward and inward to a center, from one sense, or if you want, upward.
I want to add to answer Tony's question about prophecy, that this new time, we're in the new time, we're edging our way into it. It's a time of light, greater light. This is a cosmic thing, and you can see it on the Zavorkum chart that I referred to, the fold-out in the center of Oahspe in the book of Cosmogony and Prophecy. There is more light, heavenly light, good light, powerful, creative light coming onto the earth now. It's here now. don't think that this is entirely a positive thing. Uh, when you enter these studies, you see that the new light, increased light, brings empowers even evil things. It's a little complicated, but the power is there, the light is there, and this is something that has been causing the confusion that's in the world now.
There's
The
a,
greater light is
go ahead.
causing all this confusion. There's
What,
a great deal of confusion. People don't know what to think anymore. And that's the light, because it's pushing us toward the inner understanding.
another way of looking at it, look at what we were talking about before we got on the air. The technological expansion is so mind-boggling.
Right.
This is all light, but
You know, Peter, I think Oahspe says that every planet that reaches the stage of cosmos is in a juggernaut of mechanism and technology.
Yeah.
Am I right?
From what I understand, yes, because it's so much knowledge pouring out that it's just hard to digest. It's like, how can I eat the whole pie in one bite?
Right.
I've tried.
But also, I want to point out these cycles. Even when the light comes, it's also the darkness has been doing what it wants, or the false teachings. So when the light's coming down, it starts disrupting those strongholds. They jump down on us because their world, their hold on things, is falling apart.
In fact, I think we're in a time of an almost equal balance between the light and the darkness at this time. And the future, what the future holds, and when I say the future, I mean I'm looking at several decades, is where the light becomes more dominant than the darkness. This is what we're looking forward to. This is the philosophy of hope. People have lost hope, and they've lost faith because they're in a quandary over all the lies we've been forced to live with.
Right.
But this is a light that's coming and light that's here now, and we're meant to do creative things with it.
And since, just like, that everything has its similarities here. What we're in now is sort of like, and I'm just going to use this, probably not quite adolescence, but adolescence is this time, it's very painful, growing pains. We're trying to hold on to the past, we want the future.
Right.
And one of the
Right.
definitions in one of my books, my college books, was and he said it humorously, but it's a certain truth, that adolescence is the natural time of insanity. Okay, so on the child's side, they want to be free, but yet they want to be told what to do. The parent wants to give them freedom, but is too afraid to give them to them. So there's a tug of war. In Oahspe, there's an energy called esphoma. Esphoma is pictured as two arrows going in the opposite direction. In the terms of the New Testament, the sheep and the goats. And you see it here. And I'm not going to get into social political stuff, but people become so
I'd like to get
fixed.
into the sheep and the goats when you're done.
Okay, definitely. We get so fixed in an ideology. Like my party is like my team. I don't care what they do,
Right.
instead of my country. So, Susan,
The sheep and the goats. This is an interesting motif because it appears in Oahspe and it also appears in the Holy Bible. And look at how it was predicted 2,000 years ago in the Holy Bible that this is a way of expressing the dividing of the way, the dividing of humanity, going each segment going its separate way. And this is another answer to Tony's question about prophecy, because this is the main thrust of what is happening now and what is destined to happen, that we will, the opposing forces in the world today will separate, will divide. There's plenty of stuff going on in the world that is a good example of that. The final verse in Oahspe, which is about 750,000 words, it is a 900-page volume. The final verse indicates the dividing of humanity and the triumph of goodness on earth. And Tony,
Yes.
another part of prophecy is that America is called Guatemala in Oahspe, and we are destined to lead the world into the new light.
Oh, that's
Let,
good to hear.
let me make a comment on that. Going back to the time that we talked about the Iron people and the Asu people, they're
The ground people.
the ground people. Well, I think Asu was more like they picture them in kind of a boreal, but they're tree people, but they're sort of like the chimp.
They went on all fours. That's one of the reasons they call them ground people.
Right. No, but I'm saying the picture of Asu in the trees. It's like, and there's a type of monkey that I saw, or ape, that almost looked that somewhere in East Asia that has a very kind of human build and kind of fits this type of Asu. But what I'm saying is that the leader, the archangel they were talking about, who becomes the first god or superintendent of the planet.
Right.
They talk about civilization starting from like Pan, from the east coming west. We see historically civilization move from east to west.
Right.
This continent was to be the place where all the peoples and, shall we say, the end game, the final culmination and mixing of all peoples and tribes into one nation.
Right.
So the
It's
idea
called
of
the meeting of the nations.
right. So set this individual called Sethantes was to kind of, like when they talk about eyeballing you, he like imprints this energy that is only here in North America that will foster what we're talking. So when we talk about days, we have to, people say, or even in the New Testament, another way that I use for Cosman, and the people call it the New Age, it's still the same thing, but so is the Messianic age, but it is an age. It is not like, I'm going to sit on the throne. It's our own learning to judge ourselves, to judge, and watch, he says, in this period of time, the whole species has reached comprehensible judgment. In the early days,
And for prophecy, this is the first cycle where we will not have a prophet. There will be thousands of prophets. That ties right in with what you're saying. It has to come from the individual working things out for himself.
so the other piece about that is before, think about this, think of these transcendent beings. I want to use the word angels, or essences of intelligence that were once mortals. Used to lead us by the hand and teach us. And so you had more strict mystery schools and education. In this era, in Cosmic, there is no leader forth. It's a Jesus or an archangel with a big trumpet isn't happening. But thousands and then millions of regular people, because they're now developing the essence of their higher nature or their divine nature or that part of the creator that lives in everything. And so we have to, and that's why people are at such different degrees, even with our Faces group, of development, because in one sense, and I'm going to use the word God, we are raising God, our own higher nature, our own, I like the word in less spiritual terms, our ethical nature, our ability to rationally and by our own nature want peace and no violence.
Well, I'm going to have you guys back because I've actually already went over time, but you guys are both so fascinating. I didn't have to say a word, and I loved it. And you guys are
Just sit back and listen to me and Peter.
It is because, some things that I know, I'm one of those guys, I know a little bit about a lot. This one I knew nothing about, so it was a joy just to learn and be a student of you guys. And I know people in the chat room were just, some people said they love you both and want to know how they can get a hold of you, watch more stuff about you, and then they also Oahspe, they want to know more about it, or they already knew about it and they love the teachings of it. So
well, here's the thing. There's others of us. I mean, it is so small.
Right.
But it says that because one of the things it says in Oahspe, and I think this is really important, the administrative officer of the planet in Oahspe. I don't want to use the word God. People, got their own thing about God. But the chief administrative officer says, do you think I'm only going to use the faithless, meaning the people who know about Oahspe? I am raising up all kinds of people to bring, quote unquote, the kingdom. All the progressive movements, the people who are fighting for peace, the people who are the Quakers, all these people come together. Like I said, I'm associated with the Quakers, and in Oahspe they said, Quakers really are faithless people who in heart, but they don't have the rites and ceremonies, but it's against war, right, social justice. But the progressives in the Islamic faith, the Jewish faith, we're all working together in these movements to make better housing, to end racial violence, blah, blah, blah. I don't care if you're an atheist, it don't make any difference. Because if you're a rational, moral, ethical, even that you say you don't believe in a creator or a God, you believe in that essence because you live in it.
Right.
And you can go to church and cry Jesus, Buddha, whoever you want, and be out there robbing and stealing, thinking you're going to get to heaven because you're going to call on. Well, I don't think the creator is a fool.
No.
We
wouldn't have created all this. That's like those parents that know what their children are doing. It's like, we knew you snuck out. Well, thank you both so much. And Susan, how do people find more out about you and all your book? You have tons of them.
The usual way, I guess. But Peter is vice president of UFK, which is the United Faithists of Cosman, and we have meetups all the time and meditations, and we welcome people who want to improve themselves and improve other things as well.
And even though we have, for the sake of having an organization, religion, we do by consensus. We have a board, and we have titles, but there's only one ruler, and that's the infinite being, the Great Spirit.
Right.
But for convenience and also for doing good, that kind of stuff. Well, one way is to contact the Universal Faithists of Cosman. You can call Joan Greer. I'm trying to think, Joan, do you know Joan's email address, Susan? Offhand?
I do, but do you have any number handy, Peter?
I have her number. I can give her number.
Well, what about your number?
I guess Spirit has moved me to something I didn't want to do because I'm really.
Their website is. You just type in Universal Faithists of Cosman.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the chat room.
And that's where the contact information is.
So yeah, we'll do that. Go through that chat. I got out of my number, but I gotta get get out of my shell. Right?
Yeah, I put it in the chat room so people can see it there.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that would be the best way. Just go to the site. Before we close that, I really wanted what I read to you before.
Oh yeah, please.
Because this is an important part. Because a lot of people who get into the Oahspe, and I understand because I totally dislike organized religion as such. But these are the three major definitions of religion: a pursuit or interest to which one ascribes supreme importance. That is anything from the stock market, Zippy the chimp, to the Creator.
Well, haven't they made a religion of it, of money?
Right. Well, we can get at a whole thing of Mammonism.
Right.
Mammon is the Babylonian god of wealth and individual capital. Both in Oahspe and the regular Bible says you're either going to follow God or Mammon. You can't do both. Now the second one is a particular system of faith or worship. The last one is the one we're most familiar with because where we live in this country, the belief and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal God or gods. So one of them, a friend of mine, an associate, Dr. Glenn Kendall, he is working on the construct of the difference between theology and creology, referring to the Creator.
Oh, I love that. So.
Oh, I have Joan's email address.
Go ahead and give that, and then we'll close out because I'm going to get you guys back for part 2.
Joan H. Greer 1. They all run together at Yahoo.
Perfect. And I want to thank you both.
Her phone number. Should I give her phone number?
Is it okay to get?
The only trouble with the phone number is that they're so busy. They take a long time to listen to their. But we can give it.
All right, let's stick with the email address.
Let's do the email first because we are infinitely small.
For now.
But again, it's something. What I'm saying, the idea here, we don't proselytize, which really does make it difficult. Right. Even the Quakers once proselytized. There was a time that the Jews, about the time of Muhammad, were proselytizing. So you get a base. Right. But we don't proselytize. And we're always trying to figure out how do we advertise without advertising, which we're sort of doing now.
Word of mouth. What you're doing.
We're instructed not to try to convince conceited adults. Right. And the focus of the mission is children.
Right. And that's the other thing, to get to a point where, and right now we're not, I don't think in an age that's cool because there's too much crazy, evil stuff going on, but where children who have nobody will be adopted by these communities. So this is a very important part. First, human beings other than indigenous people who have kept kind of contact with Earth Mother. First, empires. Next, democratic republics. Then small communal groups interacting with each other of no larger than 3,000 people. Because after
colonies, really.
What is that?
Individual colonies.
Yeah, colonies, communes, extended families.
Like-minded people, each one kind of with a specialty.
Right.
And a lot of interaction between them.
Right. But it is an evolutionary in the sense of evolution, in the sense of development. These things don't happen overnight. They also happen, like I said, we hit Cosman, which will have comprehensive judgment, meaning that people can think for themselves. In the early days, according to what Austin said, there's only 1% of the population that had immortality, and they were more like brutes. Okay, then the next cycle, 10%, blah, blah, blah. About the time of Moses.
And by the time of Moses, it reached 98%.
Yeah.
And now it's 100% of humanity capable of spiritual light.
And not being bossed
The ground
around.
people had no spiritual light, and they had no speech.
Right. And they could exist in the lower heavens, but they would go out because the intellectual ability of having that frontal cortex as a development spot for essence is a very important thing. They didn't have it, so they would just kind of go back into the ocean of creation.
Well, you guys promised to come back for part 2?
Yeah.
Susan, I got it. Okay, I have 2 yeses. So people in the chat room, you guys can applaud now. And but thank you both, and it's been a pleasure.
Okay. I don't know if anyone's still in here listening, but if you are, thank you for joining me. I'm going to end it right there. That video, I know that at the very end, they said some problematic things, and I saw some things that I wish that they would have brought to people's attention that they didn't. So I wish they would have, and maybe they will in another video, share more about the deities that people are under and the condemnation. Maybe they'll do that on a part 2. Anyway, brethren, thank you for joining me. And until I see you again on video, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until I see you again on video, peace be unto you. Shalom.